We all make bad decisions. Some of them happen to be on a small scale, like forgetting to set your fantasy football lineup. Others are a little more impactful, like covering up a nuclear disaster that took the lives of thousands. Somewhere in the middle of that spectrum are the bad decisions made by head coaches, and boy, are there plenty to choose from. Today we're counting down the top 5 most blatantly stupid decisions in sports history. From someone forgetting to put your best player in the biggest game of the season to leaving one of your best players in the biggest game of the season for too long. We're here to second guess, abuse the power of hindsight, and play armchair head coach until our legs fall asleep. In sports, the only right decision is the one that wins you the game, and these 5 head coaches ended up in the losing column and therefore on this ignominious list. Hey, I said ignominious in the proper context.
You play to win the game.
Number 5, the Britain is not coming. You're not the only one that can't remember whether Zach Britton spells his name with a K or not. But one thing we do know for sure is that in the Orioles 2016 wildcard game against the Toronto Blue Jays, he didn't notch a single K. Not because he pitched badly either, it's because he didn't pitch at all. During the 2016 season, Zach Britton separated himself as the O's ace in the bullpen, with a .72 ERA, a league-leading 47 saves, plus All-Star and AL Reliever of the Year accolades. And yet, when the Orioles played their biggest game of the year, a do-or-die playoff tilt north of the border, manager Buck Showalter never handed him the ball. Despite the game being knotted at 2 runs apiece from the 5th inning all the way to the 11th, Showalter gave the ball to 6 different relievers, apparently wanting to wait until the Orioles had a lead to turn to Britton. It didn't work that way because in the bottom of the 11th, with the game tied at 2 and 2 men on, Edwin Encarnacion hit a 3-run bomb to win the game for the Blue Jays while Zach Britton sat in the pen. While that move was blatantly stupid, the most memorable conflict between Britain and Canada was the signing of the British North America Act, granting them their independence without a single shot being fired in the most Canadian thing ever. Number 4, Red Right 88. Before the Browns became synonymous with heartbreak at the hands of John Elway and Ernest Biner, they suffered a crushing blow that ended one of their most promising seasons in the Super Bowl era. In 1980, Cleveland had earned themselves a home playoff game after an 11-5 season behind their quarterback Brian Sipe, who had won league MVP after a 30-touchdown campaign. Yes, this is true, look it up. The visiting Raiders, a wildcard team that had also finished 11-5, proved a tough out in the cold January weather. Trailing 14-12 late in the 4th quarter, Sipe and the Browns drove the ball deep into Raider territory and set up the offense at Oakland's 13 with less than a minute remaining. Rather than go for the field goal and win 15-14, Browns head coach Sam Rutigliano called for Red Right 88, a pass play intended to go to the end zone. Rutigliano told his quarterback to throw it into Lake Erie if the play wasn't open. Unfortunately, Sipe didn't throw the ball into a large body of water. He threw it to Raiders defensive back Michael Davis, who broke in front of Ozzie Newsome to intercept Sipe's pass and end the Browns' season. Where have we seen that before? Seems like a hard decision to defend, right? Probably, but the logic behind the aggressive call was that Browns kicker Don Cockcroft had already missed 2 field goals, had an extra point blocked, and 1 unsuccessful via bad snap. No one knows whether Cockcroft would have hit the field goal, which would have been a 30-yarder had Sipe just spiked the ball. But Red Right 88 rendered the hypothetical meaningless and propelled the Raiders to the Super Bowl, while the Browns got their first taste of heartbreak back in the 80s. Yeah, there was more to come. Number 3, wait, what? The Kansas City Chiefs tried to change the rules after losing in overtime without their offense even getting on the field in the 2018 AFC Championship game. Marty Mornhinweg's Detroit Lions didn't get to touch the ball on offense either during one fine OT, but the only difference was that it was by choice. Knotted up at 17 with the Bears in a windy game at Soldier Field in November of 2002, the Lions won the critical coin toss to begin OT. And at the instruction of their coach, they chose to play the wind and hand the ball to the Bears. One could be forgiven for not fearing the 2002 Chicago Bears offensive unit, which was led by Jim Miller. But even as they marched into the wind, Miller and the Bears strung together a 13-play drive paced by short passes to Marty Booker and Des White, and a steady run game to work the ball down to Detroit's 23-yard line. Bears kicker Paul Ettinger had already missed 1 kick at that point, but Chicago decided not to let Mornhinweg off the hook for his bad decision and let someone not named Cody Parkey kick one into the wind. The ball fluttered through the uprights and sent the Lions home with their 14th straight road loss. Of course, this was the same decision that won the game in overtime for the Broncos in the famous 1986 AFC Championship game in Cleveland, as well as the same logic that cost the Patriots a 2015 game against the Jets. Yes, other coaches have also made this decision, including the guru himself. Mornhinweg lost his job after the season following an abysmal sophomore campaign as head coach, but hey, at least taking the win was better than Jerome Bettis calling heads tails.
Heads is the call. He said heads.
Number 2, empty the clip. Why not? Shooters shoot. Of that there is no question, but shooters also miss. And that was the case for Knicks guard John Starks in Game 7 of the 1994 NBA Final. Legendary coach Pat Riley has 13 rings, but it could have been 14 had he pulled the plug on John Starks in New York's series-deciding game against the Rockets. Having scored 27 in Game 6 to nearly win the series, John Starks decided to take the final game into his own hands. The only problem is his hands didn't quite cooperate. In his 42 minutes on the court, Starks shot just 2 for 18 from the field, including 0 for 11 from beyond the arc. It's possible to affect the game in other ways, but Starks' poor shooting carried over and he recorded just 2 assists, 2 rebounds, and committed 5 fouls. He wasn't the only one stinging up the court. Patrick Ewing went 7 for 17 and Hakeem Olajuwon missed 15 of his 25 shots, but most of Starks' misses came at crucial points down the stretch in a hard-fought fourth quarter. Pat Riley could have benched Starks for Greg Anthony, New York's backup point guard who scored 7 points in 12 minutes. But Starks' heroics earlier in the series and his reputation among New York fans caused Riley to hesitate, which ultimately cost them. Starks missed an open 3 from the wing that would have cut the game to 84-81 with 40 seconds left in the fourth, and that was game. Houston won their first of 2 straight titles, and John Starks 0 for 11 from 3 wouldn't be bested until Steph Curry missed 13 trays in Game 2 of the 2014 final. Of course, as bad as Starks was in Game 7, he's not the biggest loser of 1994. That belongs to OJ. Honorable mention. Before we get to the number 1 we so obviously foreshadowed earlier, gotta show love to Coach Viktor Tikhonov, who so graciously pulled the best goalie in the world, Vladimir Tretiak, after 1 period, and paved the way for the miracle on ice to happen. Tretiak had given up 2 fluky goals, but was replaced by Vladimir Mishkin, who looked solid in the second period, but ultimately gave up 2 third-period goals, as the Americans pulled off what is widely considered the greatest upset in sports history. No complaints here about the move. Number 1, run the damn ball. We all know how this one goes. In one of the most entertaining Super Bowls of all time, the Patriots and Seahawks went blow for blow until the fourth quarter, when Tom Brady's 4th touchdown pass made the score 28-24. The Seahawks, working with just a couple minutes on the clock, moved the ball into Patriots territory, where a circus catch by Jermaine Kearse set up Seattle with 1st and goal at the 5-yard line with just over a minute left. First play, a runoff tackle to the left by Marshawn Lynch down to the 1. Timeout Seattle with 52 seconds left. This was a crucial decision, and maybe the multiple choice format will help illuminate Pete Carroll and offensive coordinator Darrell Bevell's options. Should they A, run the ball again with the league's most powerful runner? B, fake the ball to Lynch and give Russell Wilson the option to throw or run? 3, do absolutely nothing at all and go straight to 3rd down? D, line up in shotgun and throw a slant into traffic. There was no correct decision, only a wrong one, and the Seahawks chose it. On 2nd down, Wilson threw a slant intended for Ricardo Lockett, but undrafted rookie corner Malcolm Butler read the play, broke on the ball, and took it away like YouTube deleting channels without discretion. The Patriots won their 4th Super Bowl, and a little bit of America's innocence died that day. In hindsight, it seemed obvious to run the ball. In foresight, it seemed obvious to run the ball. But maybe it wasn't an error in decision making. Watching the play pre-snap, it's clear that New England is selling out to stop the run, keeping 8 in the box and playing 0 coverage, which is to say everyone is selling out aside for 3 defensive backs playing man coverage. Malcolm Butler looked like he had seen the play before, because he had in the week leading up, as the Pats uncovered the Seahawks' tendency to stack receivers and pick on the goal line ahead of the game. He also hid himself well behind Lockett. But what's the difference between a wrong decision and a decision that comes out wrong? Pete Carroll would have been branded a genius for catching the Patriots off guard had Malcolm Butler not done his homework and recognized the play pre-snap. The same goes for Pat Riley, who would have been applauded for keeping the faith had John Starks eventually found his stroke late in Game 7, or Sam Rudigliano had Brian Sipes' pass reached Ozzie Newsome. In sports, decisions aren't judged based on context. They are judged only whether the call contributed to the team either winning or losing the game. Of course, the losing decisions are the ones that get placed under the microscope most often. Actually, now that I take another look back, all these decisions were dumb as shit. Like literally, how could you be that stupid? Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, especially if you like pointing fingers when people mess up. Please leave a like and check out my other videos on sports, and a special shout out to Will Keys. Well, except this part where he humbly congratulates himself. That's my job. Follow him on Twitter, he's a big fan of LaCroix. I'm 5 Points Vids, and you made it to the end of this video.